Thanks for the best ride of my life, and I will say this. If anyone can retire after a 43-year career and feel the way that I do every single day in a classroom and love it as much as I did the day I started, then you made a really good choice. And if you can't feel that way about what you choose for a living, you shouldn't be doing it. You should do something else. I'll never forget this place, and I'll never forget the career I've had. So when I was at Cal State Northridge as an undergrad, thinking I was going to go into child development, but actually hating what I was doing, because I think the best thing you can do as a student is be an intern somewhere to learn what you'd actually be doing. And I thought I wanted to work with autistic children. I worked at Cedars-Sinai. I was there all the time. I worked in a group setting. I worked in an individual setting. And I struggled because the attitude of some of the people I worked with wasn't what I had hoped for as with respect to hope for kids that really have problems, and that other people give meaning to a message. And that just kind of made me rethink my relationship with my parents and how I had never taken their perspective into account. And I was so enthralled with just the basics of communication that I switched my major, just did a complete shift. And beginning that next fall, I rammed through the major. I went through the major in 3 semesters and 1 summer, and then completed the major as quickly as I could. And because I loved it so much, I worked super hard.
Taking this the wrong way, so you can just totally just say no.
Yeah. Because I'm older, I've had a lot of life experience. I've had the experiences that they've had. I struggled as a kid who was from an economically disadvantaged family, so I understand what that feels like. I understand what it feels like to fight with parents. I understand what it's like to have had a boyfriend and had my life, crushed by somebody who cheated on me. I bring all of those things into the classroom. I basically spill my guts in there. They know. I always laugh because I say that class knows more about me than people I've worked with for 36 years. And I'm not exaggerating. They know, obviously I know where to draw appropriate boundaries. But if it's like a minor conflict that I had with my husband, but it illustrates really important points, I will talk about that conflict and how we handled it. They are like, oh, we want to meet Scott, because they hear so much about him. I'm in a really successful marriage of 36 years. I bring to the class all of the good and all of the hard parts of life, so that they know that when I talk about romantic relationships, that I've been there. When I talk about family and dysfunction, things that are super hard, I've been there too. When we talk about friendships that are good or bad and that they explode, I've been there all through my life, even well into this part of adulthood where friends do really bad, awful things to you or hurtful things. I bring that into the classroom.
So one thing that's pretty cool about the environment with my class is that, and even Victoria acknowledges this, is that my class is considered the quiet but mighty class. And she says that often because we're very quiet as a class. We don't really talk to our peers, but we are mighty in the way that we do amazing on presentations. Just, it blows her away, which is really cool.
I think it was, it's one of those things. I think it was just like a natural feeling. I think after like the first day, how she engaged with the course, how she engaged with the class, I kind of saw who she was like as a person. And to be honest with you, it wasn't necessarily like, it was just one of the things I just knew I needed to be close to her. I was like, I don't really know this lady too well, but I want to get to know her, and just the way she was conducting her classes, the way she spoke to us, the way she was always opening her door for help, and just I could just see in her aura who she was as a person, and I just knew I needed to be close to her in some way. And so it was just kind of an innate inkling feeling. You know, she kind of has that effect on people. I mean, if you've been around Victoria for 5-10 minutes, you can kind of, you know, you're like, oh yeah, this lady is amazing.
Labeled as lectures 7A, 7B, and 7C. By the time I was in my 30s, I was getting severe headaches that were debilitating. And I was all over the place trying to figure out what was wrong with me. My brother was a practicing dentist, and I was like, I went to the Kudrow headache clinic. They said, well, you're taking too much Tylenol. We need to do biofeedback. I thought, well, I'm in my 30s. Like, is this a hormone problem? I got that tested. No, there was nothing wrong with me. And my brother was the one who said, it's your neck. He said, you need to go to an orthopedist. So I was now probably 35 years old, went to an orthopedic doctor, found out that 2 of my discs in my neck had ruptured. And they started treating me with these shots, like they're called epidurals, and they basically shove a big fat needle in to put steroids in to help you with the pain. And I did that for 5 years until one New Year's Eve, the 3rd level in my neck, it's like the house of cards that falls, and the 3rd level ruptured, and I was in absolute agony to the point where I almost had to go to the emergency room. I should have, actually. But I got into the doctor who was out of town. Clearly it was New Year's. And then saw him the next week, and he said, okay, you have 3 ruptured discs and you can't go on from this. So it started with a 3-level fusion when I was 40. They did 3 levels. And from then on, even though I knew a chiropractor had caused what was going on in my neck, I knew someone out here who was a chiropractor, and my low back was killing me. So I just wanted him to just gently address my lower spine, because this neurologist said that was not going to be a problem. And I said, please don't touch my neck, because I have a triple fusion. And he said, well, if you're fused, it shouldn't matter. And I said, don't touch my neck. And then he went around the back while I was laying on the table, and he cracked my neck. And within 6 weeks, I had developed a condition called occipital neuralgia. And the only way to describe it, the nerve endings in your entire skull are on fire, and it feels like there's a rodent running around inside your head. It is horrendous. It is painful. It is creepy. It is every horrible thing. And I got to the point where I kind of wanted to die.
It was really watching her, in a sense, right? Like, the classes were great, but watching her get up, knowing she's getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to come teach, knowing that she's having these surgeries and everything like that, and yet she's still here in class, showing up for the students. It was really that made me be like, I want to be like that when I'm in a leadership position, right? She was working crazy amount of hours, again, showing up for her students and going through all that what she was going through at the time. That for me was like, this is a person who values what she does and really truly cares about the students. Most professors probably have been like, oh, I'm sick, get a sub, or do whatever. But I'm looking at myself at the time as a student. I'm like, okay, well, if she can work these crazy hours, go through all these surgeries, and still show up and do her job and be a leader, I could do it too.
You have to decide how you want to live your life. You can put yourself under a blanket and say, I never want to get up and do anything again, and you will die with that kind of attitude. So because I take the warrior, I am a warrior attitude, I'm strong.
Just having the ability to be a student and then be a colleague with her was like a full circle moment for me, and she deserves it. She deserves retirement, and trust me, and I like I said, I'll take it from here, Victoria, because you've done well. You've done more than anyone could imagine.
One thing that I would want to say is that very early on, Victoria told us that no matter how hard this class may seem, no matter how anxious you may be, that she's going to get you through that class. She's one way or another, she's going to pull you through and make sure you pass her class. And for that, I am very grateful because I do think she pulled me through the class. I was very anxious, but she was able to help a lot. And for that, I say thank you.
You've seen people come together, and I think that's the one thing about COC that I have loved when I think about it became family for me. That's what I will leave with is that sorry. I spent 36 and a half years here. It's just hard. It's really hard, and I love so many people here, and I always will. And we're looking for ways to come back together. Some of us that have left and that are retired or retiring. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I'm not done. I'm going to be back here somehow, some way. I'm going to come back. Thanks for the best ride of my life, and I will say this. If anyone can retire after a 43-year career and feel the way that I do every single day in a classroom and love it as much as I did the day I started, then you made a really good choice. And if you can't feel that way about what you choose for a living, you shouldn't be doing it. You should do something else. I'll never forget this place, and I'll never forget the career I've had.